but are they all aware of the risks involved in being too stressed out? Whatever the case, if you're alive, you've got some kind of stress. Dr. Hans Selye, in his groundbreaking research on human stress response, identified stress as being part of the fight or flight syndrome, a survival device left over from the days when men were fighting off saber-toothed tigers. In the book The Lucifer Principle, author Howard Bloom describes it as when our ancestors were confronted with a snarling beast, the response prepared them to engage in a battle or to hot-footed out of the path of danger. It is safe to say that in the 21st century, fighting off giant tigers with huge fangs is probably unlikely. Nonetheless, short-term stress is not necessarily always a bad thing. However, chronic stress or too much stress can be hazardous to your health. Today I will explain what some of the basic natural stress-triggered responses are in relation to the fight or flight syndrome, and how chronic stress affects the human body. First, let's talk about how the body responds to stress in relation to the fight or flight syndrome. All right, so according to Healthline.com, a website posted by Healthline, most recently accessed on July 8th, stress is a natural physical and mental reaction to both good and bad experiences that can be beneficial to your health and safety. Your body responds to stress by releasing hormones and increasing your heart and breathing rates. Your brain begins to receive more oxygen, giving you an edge on responding to a problem and helping you cope with tough situations. According to the American Psychological Association, stress can often provide the boost needed to have the drive and energy to get through school exams or work deadlines. Next, let's talk about ways stress is triggered and what is chronic stress. Pressures of everyday responsibilities at work, school, and at home are all normal contributors of stress. Any negative life events are likely to trigger stress. Negative events include divorce, death of loved ones, and physical illnesses as well. It is usually but not limited to severe cases of traumatic stress that keep your body's stress levels elevated far longer than necessary for survival. This is called chronic stress. According to Wikipedia, chronic stress is the response to emotional pressures suffered for a prolonged period of time. Okay, so last, let's talk about how chronic stress affects the body. The American Institute of Stress links chronic stress to a variety of symptoms that can affect your overall health and well-being. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so ground zero, which is basically the central nervous system, is in charge of the fight and flight syndrome. When the fight and flight syndrome is triggered, then the central nervous system basically places an order for stress hormones to be released into the body. So when the perceived fear is gone, the CNS should tell the systems all to go back to normal. But if the CNS fails to do so, or if the stressors don't go away, the extra hormones take a major toll on the body, which can then lead to headaches, can interfere with sleep, and can lead to anxiety, which can lead to depression. In an effort to distribute oxygen and blood quickly, stress affects the respiratory and cardiovascular systems, causing you to breathe faster. If you already have any pre-existing respiratory problems like asthma or emphysema, simple stress can make it harder to breathe, just normally. Also, it makes your heart, the hormones make your heart pump faster, which causes blood vessels to constrict and raises your blood pressure. If this happens too frequently, it raises the risk of hypertension and can also lead to strokes and heart attacks. Okay. So in the digestive system, stress hormones make your liver produce extra glucose or blood sugar. The unused blood sugar is then reabsorbed back into the body, and your body may not be able to keep up with the extra glucose surge, which can increase risk of diabetes in the blood. This also makes it more likely to get heartburn or acid reflux and upset stomach. In an effort to try and protect itself from injury, stress causes the muscular system to tense up. And under a lot of stress, your muscles don't have a chance to relax, which can cause body aches in the back, in the shoulders, and all over your body. As stress is exhausting for the mind and body, it can disrupt the sexuality and reproductive systems as well. For some men, stress produces extra testosterone, which in the short term can increase desire for sex, but in the long term, too much testosterone at once then gradually starts to decrease the testosterone, which can lead to erectile dysfunction and even impotence. For women, the fluctuating hormones can throw off the menstrual cycle or stop it altogether, or it can even create heavier or more painful periods. So for both men and women, stress does wreak havoc on the reproductive systems, which can make it harder to conceive. Finally, stress activates and revs up your immune system. In the short term, that's a bonus because your immune system can help you stave off infections and heal wounds faster. But over time, it has a opposite effect, which can compromise your immune system, making you more susceptible to infections and disease. So, in conclusion, how does this information relate to you? Other than the obvious health concerns, according to the Fall 2013 American College Health Association's National College Health Assessment Survey, stress is the leading cause of impacting student success. As it may be impossible to avoid stress altogether, managing stress levels is still possible. There are a number of ways to help manage stress. As students, I challenge all of you to explore what those options can be for you. To quote the architect Ludwig Mies van der Rohe as a precept for minimalist design, less is more. Okay, let's summarize what we have talked about. We talked about the fight or flight syndrome and our body's natural stress responses, what triggers and causes stress, how chronic stress affects the body, and why it relates to you. And so remember, if any of you are ever confronted with a saber-toothed tiger, it's okay to be stressed out. Thank you.
Okay.